This is a demonstration of how to install the SCIDIP-ES Preservation Strategy Toolkit. First, we go to the SCIDIP-ES interactive platform at int-platform.digitalpreserve.info. We follow the link to the dashboard, and on the dashboard page we scroll down and select the Toolkit tab, and then the RepInfo Strategy Toolkit. This takes us to the Preservation Strategy Toolkit's page. There's some introductory material here that you might care to read, but for now let's scroll down to the bottom where there's a list of downloadable zip files. So we'll download the Windows 64-bit version. It's about 100 megabytes, so it might take a little while depending on your network connections. Meanwhile, let's use one that we've downloaded earlier. So if I open the zip file and extract it to somewhere memorable, so I'm going to put it in C/PST. Now it's there, we can see there's another zip file inside, and we want to extract this one into the same directory. Now the Windows unzipper always wants to put it into a subdirectory, but it's actually easier to unpack it into the same directory that we did before. And that may take a few seconds. And when that's done, it's added a lot more files to the distribution unzip. So we're almost ready to go now, but there's just a couple more things you might need to do. If you're using a proxy, then you'll need to change the proxy settings in the file called registry-serializer.ini. By default, the proxy is not set, so if you're not using a proxy, you don't need to change anything. I'm using a proxy, so I need to set proxy set to true, and I need to set proxy host and proxy port to settings for my network. Yours will probably be different. Preservation Strategy Toolkit executable is here. Now when we start it, by default it will look in the same folder for all its configuration files, the ini files and some config files, and indeed the user guide for the help manual. If you want to use another location, there's an environment variable called PST_home, and if you set that to the location of some folder, that's the folder that the toolkit will use when it starts up. So now we start the tool just by double clicking on the executable. And this brings up a splash screen and then asks us to select a workspace. So the workspace is a location where it will store all the projects that we're going to build using the PST. So if you have one already in use, you can choose that, or you can just choose the default and it will create it if it doesn't exist already. So when we OK that, it then starts loading. It might take a little while to get going, but be patient, it will start sooner or later. Once it's up and running, the main window appears and we're ready to start using it to create our preservation projects.